What's up, everybody? We are here with a special edition episode of Coldplay Replay. Now, normally, we've been ranking and reviewing each album throughout the entire discography leading up to the release of Music of the Spheres, which came out last October. And we always had this plan to do a special episode for the tour because we had all planned months ago to go see them live in concert. So we have a little bit of a different group in terms of we have a new addition with Vegas here. So we have Billy the Door, Coldplay staple, Coldplay Replay staple. We have Gino V. Terry, Coldplay Replay staple. And then, we have a new member joining us, a Vegas girl on fire. So we'll just kick it off with general thoughts. So actually, no, let's rewind a little bit real quick. We'll ask Vegas first because she is new to the show, and then we'll just have Gino and Billy just reiterate what they've said before. But Vegas, what is your history with the band Coldplay? What's your experience with them? Thoughts and feelings on their music?
I don't have too much of a history with Coldplay. I feel like they've just been slowly creeping in to my headspace because I don't even think that I knew much Coldplay. But now I think I'm a fan after that concert.
Wow. All right. We love to hear it. Billy,
we got one.
Yeah, we got him. Billy, again, real quick, just, general, your history with the band in terms of being a fan and everything like that leading up to this concert. Also, was this your first concert experience?
Yes, this was my first concert experience, although I have been a fan since I was an angsty little teen in middle school. And I've been looking forward to this ever since we planned it, and it's something that I've honestly always wanted to do and happy that I got to do. But yeah, very cool. Oh, that's great.
Wow.
That's great. That's much better.
It looks like you're being interrogated. Gino, first interrogation question. History with the band, and also was this your first time seeing Coldplay live?
It was my first time seeing Coldplay live. Enjoyed it very much. It was incredible. I had known about their concerts being, life-changing experiences prior, and that's very much what this was. My history with the band, I've always been the kind of person to be like, I like this, but never looking it up, right? You know what I mean? So, excuse me. So I always liked Coldplay music, but I never thought it was Coldplay, right? So after a while, throughout my life, I started connecting the pieces. This is Coldplay. This is Coldplay. Oh my gosh, they're incredible. Let's start listening to Coldplay. So first album I ever bought was more of a recent one. It was which one was it? Ghost Stories? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's the one? Okay. That's the first one I bought. And that's the CD that I had on repeat in my car because I didn't have an aux cable or anything like that. So whenever I didn't want to listen to the radio, I would listen to Ghost Stories on repeat, dude. So, yeah, I'm a big Coldplay fan.
Nice. And so for me, I really started to become a fan of the band around when Viva La Vida came out in 2008. And we'll get into it later with the actual discussion of the tour concert experience. But I'll never forget hearing Sparks for the first time on Wedding Crashers hit 2005 film, I think. And I was 11 years old back then, and so I just remember just being enraptured by that song during that scene in the movie. When Viva La Vida came out, I was at some middle school function, and only went to one middle school function for my school, for my middle school, but I went to this one and they had music playing over the radio, and they had Viva La Vida came on, and I just remember being the world stopped when I first heard those violins starting to strum, and I was like, what is this? I got to know more about this. And so dove into that album, and then this is the iTunes era, so you only, you had a gift card, you only could buy a few songs. Bought a few songs from Parachutes, A Rush of Blood, X and Y, stuff like that, and just really getting into now the first back half of Coldplay's catalog. Then I've been a hardcore fan ever since, and they're tied for my 1A 1B favorite band of all time. So we got some quick tour facts here. It's not comprehensive because it's a little bit different metrics than the typical metrics that we would look at for that album. And I did not want to pay. I was talking to Vegas about this. I did not want to pay for Billboard Pro. They wrote an article about a bunch of stuff on this current tour, and I was like, I don't know if it's worth it or not. But a couple interesting facts. So they make roughly $5 million per show that they do, and there's a little graphic here that I have pulled up. So for their last tour, A Head Full of Dreams, which is a pretty massive tour, they would make around $4.5 million per show. So it's an increase of like $500K, which is pretty sizable. But then like for Milo, they only made like $2.4 million. And then if you go all the way back to like Parachutes and A Rush of Blood Ahead, like Parachutes, they made like $52,000 for each show. And A Rush of Blood, they only made like $200,000 per show. Obviously, they were probably playing smaller venues back then. And then I would assume this is not accounting for inflation. So it's just pure dollar sales. And so obviously that's going to balloon up over time. The tour has grossed over $113 million so far, and it's only like halfway over. They still got Europe and Latin America to go through. And it's on track to be the biggest tour of 2022, just based off of all the shows that have come out so far and all the live concerts. I know, hate to bring it up, but Beyonce is going to drop an album or something. Man, if she tours, I'm nervous. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. And then another fun fact that I saw, that just over their lifetime of touring, they've hit over $1 billion in sales through this tour. Like this tour helped cracked over $1 billion, that's nuts. And then another fun fact that we've talked about before offline, they have 10 straight shows in Buenos Aires in Argentina. It's like over like 2 weeks or something like that, and it's like a record for that stadium. That's a lot of shows. It's like 600,000 tickets. And yeah, that was just wild to see that. I guess Argentinians just love Coldplay, clearly. So yeah, first question. So let's just go through some of the questions we have listed here. So what did you all think of the show? Just general opinions. Chino, I'll go with you first.
So like I mentioned a few minutes ago, life-changing experiences for Coldplay, right? I would say this is one of them. I thought it was so this was also not only my first Coldplay show, but it was my first time being on the floor for such a big performance like that. And general thoughts, obviously people are the worst, you know what I mean? People are just sucky, right? So being around so many people, that little wrinkle sort of although it wasn't that bad, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. People did normally keep their space and all that stuff, but aside from the moments where he was fully blocked out when he was on the piano and stuff like that, I think being able to see him up close and the rest of the band, and even when they went to like B stage and stuff like that, we could still see them. I thought it was freaking awesome, dude. It was amazing. It was so cool. Everything they did, because if you're sitting like in section 100, you don't see the little mannerisms that they do when you're, rather than being up close. So seeing everything Chris does with either I don't know any of their other names, I forgot, except Guy.
Guy.
Seeing him, or Will. Guy, Will.
That's so many of them. You just need one more.
You're so close. You're so close. Starts
Will's
with a J.
the guitarist, right?
No, he's a drummer.
Shit. So the other one I'm trying to remember.
Guitarist starts with, Johnny.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny. Okay,
Yeah.
So yeah, like seeing him like with Johnny, like how he plays around with him, or like how he played around with other people, and like it's cool seeing that up close, and seeing their actual faces and facial expressions while they sing. So I think it's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So Vegas, since you're still new to the band, and this was also your first time seeing them, what are your general takeaways and impressions with their concert experience?
The general takeaway is immaculate vibes. I've been to many concerts, but like Gino, I haven't really been like on the floor like that. I went to BTS on the floor, but we were seated. So this was it was a very different experience. And Coldplay, honestly, they put on a crazy good show. And Chris just like being right in front of us and just like it felt like he was dancing with us. So I feel like they put on just a great show from everything that happens, the balloons, the confetti, even the people. Like there was some annoying people around us, but for the most part, the crowd was just a good vibe too. The whole show was just great.
Yeah, we'll get more into it later, but I brought up after the show, like it was incredible, like how like they played like 24 songs. It's like a 2-hour concert, something like that. But they were like going. Like it never felt like
it didn't
never
feel
like
like
a check your watch.
It all kind of flowed.
It's very seamless.
Yeah, even when they were like transitioning from the different stages or putting on the little outfits and everything. Billy, you were a super fan of Coldplay, and this was your first time seeing them live.
First time.
How did it feel being that close? Because we might put up photos and videos and stuff while this goes, just because we actually have like footage. But like, dude, we were close, like, right? Like, how amazing was that?
Yeah, we were. So there was like one family of people in front of us, like on the railing, and then it was us, like right behind the stage.
If we wanted to, we could like put our hands out and grab the railing and like
wiggle
our way.
Yeah,
we didn't want to be
close.
like rude about it.
Also, the family was like kind of short, which was nice.
Yeah,
that was key. That was critical.
Most of them were really short.
Yeah.
And being a tall person, it doesn't really.
That was great.
Nobody knows this. Vegas is like 6'5". It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Taller than Gino.
She's on the west wing of her house right now too.
Back to Coldplay.
But yeah, no, it was a fantastic show. I loved being right in front of the confetti things, and like I think we got confettied like 4 times, and every time I was like Hillary Clinton with the balloons, like oh. I love it.
It was shocking.
Yeah, I literally I got back to Austin because I drove from Austin to go to Atlanta, and like confetti was just like coming out of every orifice and pocket on my person.
We could honestly spend a good 30 minutes just on the confetti of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure we will.
No, it was great.
That's one of the bullet points. It's one of the bullet points.
Yeah.
In the talk.
Yeah. So next,
the confetti, immaculate vibes.
So we'll go to that. So how did you guys feel like the interactivity with the concert, with the show, in terms of like the Xylo bands on our wrists, the confetti, they did like laser light shows, the flames? Like, does anybody have any big takeaways from that?
I want to point out, I was grateful that the security guard in front of us, because we had the securities in front of us too, that one of them was like, be ready for the confetti. Because if I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah, if I had no idea that was going to happen and you hear that huge pop, I would have thought something was going on immediately. Mm-hmm. But I was like, okay, I'm thinking this whole song, all right, at some point it's going to be loud because there's going to be confetti and then it's going to be intense. And then it happened every once in a while. I think it happened like 4 times that they did it. At the best times too. It was so cool when like there. I wonder how it looks when you're in the audience, like in the bleachers or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But where we were specifically, it's raining down on us, which is so cool. It's raining down on us, and like it's so much, especially where we were, since we were right in the front, that the view was obstructed of how much confetti was in front of us to like see close and all that stuff.
It was like a heavy rain.
And that was cool. Like that was cool.
It was amazing.
It was obstructing my view of seeing them, and I thought that was cool. Like actual confetti is like, and by the time at the end, it was freaking caked. We were caked in confetti.
We were
It was
caked.
intense.
Yeah.
It was like 2 inches on the ground of confetti.
Seriously,
in
like,
our area.
The floor was like covered, and there was like most of the times it was like like raining confetti, but you could still kind of see around you. There were, it might have been the sky full of stars, where like I literally couldn't even see like in front of me. Like,
When the star confetti came out.
that's like I was like whoa. I was like okay. I do have here on setlist.fm that their concert specifically was 2 hours and 10 minutes. So that's a good list. Yeah, 24 total songs. They started at 9:05 specifically, although doors said what 8:45, something like that. So they were a little late, you know.
Yeah.
So when I'm late to my streams, that's why I'm just emulating like Coldplay and all these
okay.
important people.
You should have openers. You should have openers to your stream.
Before that, Brett thinks he's at Coldplay's level.
I did. Your friend literally said I look like Diet Chris Martin, so I'll take that.
I didn't say that though.
Yeah, your friend did, and you trust him, right?
She's only seen a picture of you, dude. She doesn't know you.
People in front of us agreed with that too.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
she sent that and she was like, "Yeah, you look."
Guys, we can't be doing this to Brett.
I
We
think
can't
those
be
girls in
boosting
front of
his
you liked
spirits
you.
like this.
Those girls in front of you liked you though.
I thought they had boyfriends, man. If I knew that one dude was a brother and it wasn't like
I still think they liked you.
Game of Thrones situation, maybe
No.
we could have had something.
I think
One
the
of them
boyfriend
was,
liked you too.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Although the boyfriend wasn't a gamer, and I was like, all right, I ain't buying that anymore. Like,
Wasn't.
you don't got time to like.
Get out of
Oh, I
here.
don't do that anymore.
What are you
Like,
doing with your life?
Literally only, yeah.
bro?
No, I get it though.
All right, so this will be a short segment for the pod, but the waiting in line experience. Now, Billy,
I'll go
You
on
guys
mute.
take it away.
we're gonna
I'll
save
go
the
on
best. We're gonna save the best for last with Billy. But,
Okay.
But Gino and Vegas, y'all waited in line outside for like what, an hour?
An hour.
And then obviously we had to wait on the floor. So just the waiting in line. How did that feel for you guys? Have you guys done that before? How was the actual experience?
So we had like these two idiots that decided to wait in line for us. So we got great line spots. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We got
it
there,
wasn't, was it?
stood in the sun for a short amount of time, which doesn't
that's
really
great.
affect me anyway because the sun really likes me.
Yeah.
Yep. And we had some water. We were prepared. I had a snack.
So this was the plan, right? The
Yeah.
plan was Brett and Billy wanted to wait in line. Doors open at, when did they open at?
5:30.
5:30.
5:30. Doors open at 5:30. We got there at 1 for Brett and Billy to wait. So I dropped them off. They got in line. I'm sure he'll tell you about that experience now, but me, Vegas, and Stephanie, my girlfriend, which was also with us, we went to Target, shopped around a little bit. I got my shirt for the concert, right, because I needed to get that. I needed to look A1, right? And then we went back to my house because I had to change into that shirt, right? So I had to change into that shirt. That took about an hour.
Taking off a shirt and then putting on a different shirt
Listen.
takes an hour. Okay.
Listen, Billy's
you gotta
looking real
look at the
salty.
concert.
Billy,
Yeah,
Gino knows like that one meme picture I show you. Gino, 2 hours to cancel Netflix, emerge successfully.
Yeah,
It takes
I had
time to do
I had
stuff
to reflect
right.
on the day. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to reflect on the day.
Okay.
I had to reflect on the day up until that point, right? So that was about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Vegas wanted to. She bought makeup at Target, and she wanted to put that makeup on, but it needed to be at the Airbnb, right? It couldn't be here. So even though she had the makeup with her, she needed it at the Airbnb. She needed to put it there.
Yeah.
So we drove to the Airbnb. She did her makeup there. We were ready. Stephanie
Took me
took
5
the-
minutes, but we really needed like
But Stephanie
we
took
really
a
needed
nap.
to
She
breathe.
Stephanie needed her
okay.
nap, so she had to take a nap real quick.
Okay.
So she went ahead and took that for about another hour. And then we met up with you guys at around
Wait,
4.
wait! You forget
What?
the most time-consuming part.
You're right. We had to go to Burger King because we were like, Billy and Brett are gonna be.
We got
they're
like
gonna be
20
hungry,
texts
right?
like burgers.
They're gonna be hungry, right? And then so I call Brett like, hey, you want a burger? And he's like, nah, I'm okay. So when he hung up and said he's okay and Billy's gonna be fine too, he's not gonna be hungry.
We were like,
We
they
thought,
want the burgers.
yeah, by the time we get there, they'll probably be hungry, right? So
I did take a bite out of a burger.
Yeah,
you
so
fed me, bro. Thank you.
So we bought 8 cheeseburgers at Burger King, right? 8 cheeseburgers.
Took about an hour.
Boy, it took an hour because once we got to the window, the lady was like, "Sorry, it's just me and my boss." And we were like, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. We're not late for anything." And so we finally we parked where we needed to park, all that stuff, and then we got to you guys.
It sounds like y'all had a harder, more arduous experience than we did.
Honestly,
It was more stressful, yeah.
Definitely more stressful.
How was the parking, real quick? Like, was that aggravating? Was that rough? Hard?
It was
to-
simple.
You guys did get there a little bit.
just had a
early,
long
too,
walk.
so, yeah.
it was
It's
just a
a long
walk.
walk. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just a long walk.
Because a lot of the streets were shut down, so we had to
Mhm.
figure out like what was kind of closest, and what we got, I think, was as close as we could get.
Worked out, yeah.
Yeah. And
Isn't
then
too bad.
Billy. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Let's just get into it. Billy.
All right.
Because we got there at 1 p.m., 12:45 or something like that.
Mhm.
Because it's general admission on the floor. So, whenever you get there, that's when you get there and you just wait in line. And, how was that experience for us and for you in particular? Because you've got a lot to say.
No, I think it went. It started out pretty all right. We were behind 2 very kind ladies, and another man, and the one man offered us a chair, and I was like, "No, I'll be fine. It'll be fine." And then, I went to, I think at 2, I went to the merch table, got you your shirt, got me this shirt. Yeah, show off our shirts. Very good. That's the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I am kind of jealous of the New Jersey one because it's got the Statue of Liberty and the thing. Yeah, but I can't get that because I didn't go to that show. But whatever, it's fine. And then it's starting to get a little rough. As you can see, my nose is very peeled. It was very warm,
Bill,
very toasty. I did very graciously ask Vegas to bring sunscreen, and she did. She brought it like 20 minutes before we went inside.
an hour.
The covered thing. So, okay, an hour before we went inside the covered thing, after I was burnt and almost dying of heat stroke. So, I did make a trek. So Brett went to this gas station to get water, and did you get gummy bears? No, Sour Patch Kids,
Sour
right?
Patch Kids, yeah.
Okay. We were talking about gummy bears before, but it was Sour Patch Kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right, I gotta use the bathroom. I'm gonna make this trek to this gas station. Get there, and the guy's like, bathroom's closed. So I trekked on back. I did get a vitamin water, which get some electrolytes, but didn't help too much. But I was just sipping it, and then after a while, I found a nice bush to hide under, and then I came back, and once I got inside, though, like, the air conditioning reinvigorated me, and I was ready to go, and I had a great night.
Yeah.
But Billy, you were known as the floor guy, right? Like in that line, you were known as is that what it?
The people in front of us were like, "Oh, that guy's probably drunk." I'm like, "No, I'm just."
They did offer to buy us umbrellas, and we probably should have taken that.
I want people at home right now to understand something. Okay, with Billy's story. All right, when we got there, he was the only person struggling.
Yeah.
Out of the hundreds of people that were out there.
That's the other thing.
He's
Like,
the
how are
only
these people
struggle
doing
bus.
it?
I was struggling too. I just was locked in. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, this is gonna be.
But everybody else in the crowd must have just been locked in
Everybody
line.
else, but they were either better prepared or like.
Some people can just handle the hot weather.
There was a guy in like a onesie,
People just be outside.
and I'm
all the
like,
time.
how are you living right now in
Yeah.
a onesie in this weather?
Yeah.
Like insane. But
Wanted people to
and
get
I was
visual.
like worried, like, oh, am I like even gonna make it. But like once I got inside, I was like, all right, I'm fine. And then it was big chilling.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll give my thoughts on that, because this is the first concert that I've been to where, yeah, we were on the floor and where like we waited outside in line, and we were like wondering when, because I was, no matter when it was going to be, I was willing to like get there as early as possible. There was like we were seeing on Twitter, what was that girl's name, Gino, that we actually saw in line?
You guys saw her?
Molly? Yeah,
Molly,
Molly. Yeah, like
The one that said say hi?
Yeah. And because I was checking like Twitter and stuff to see like what the like on person
The line status was?
yeah, like what the actual like situation was like at outside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and it was like it was like 8:45 or something like that a.m. that people were like getting in line, like the first people, and so that was really early. Apparently they did that for like Tampa and everything, and yeah, we got there at like 12:45, and ultimately that was still well enough to get there. Like,
Oh yeah.
we actually should talk about this too, but like we got up on against the railing essentially, being there at 12:45, and obviously we should talk about it too here in a second, like not getting through the line efficiently too, like once you got in the stadium.
Oh my god.
And
That was the stadium's problem.
yeah, and yeah, I did okay. I got pretty burnt too, not as bad as Billy, but I've been peeling like here and on my neck. My neck really got it way worse. Like I like just looked at my couch in my living room and like there's like peels all over it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta like crazy. Yeah, it was hot as heck. It was like what 90 the whole day.
On concrete.
And so like the closer you got to the concrete, the hotter it actually was.
It was white concrete, so it reflects.
Yeah, so like I was like, maybe if I sit down, it would be fine. I'm like, it's so rough.
No, it's hotter.
I would lay down.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is even worse. So I'm like standing was the best option for me. Yeah, everybody was super nice. Like I took time out of the line to get snacks and drinks and stuff like that. Billy took time out of the line to get snacks and drinks and to hide under a bush.
Hide under a bush. It was a great bush.
Billy didn't even say anything to me. He just like got up and wandered off because he was having a moment, obviously. But yeah, everyone was super cool. The two ladies in front of us were super nice. The dude, like two people in front of, like two groups in front of us were super nice. I think when
That was like our little waiting crew.
yeah, I think you were gone at this point, but the people behind us I talked to for a hot sec and just was like asking about their history with the band, what their favorite album was, stuff like that. So everybody was pretty cool and chill, and even like once we got onto the floor, everybody was cool and chill. But let's talk about getting from the outside of the stadium and getting onto the floor. Vegas, I want you to go first because you actually got to the floor before any of us.
I got in first somehow.
Yeah.
And not only that, so I'll talk about just like the build up. We're in line, it's 5:30. They didn't open the gates.
Yeah.
I think they pushed to like 5:45, then they finally opened the gates ish.
Mm-hmm.
When they opened the gates, they had us split into two lines. They're like, you're all gonna end up at the same place, like whatever. We go in, Brett gets in, he's right in front of me. I got bag checked. Like my bag went off because I had a spare battery. Had to go around, wait in like a 4-person line to get my bag checked. Brett already ran in. Like he's gone. Gino, Billy, and Steph don't know where they are. Their line went somewhere else. I don't know where they went. But I got bag checked. And even with the bag check, but when I got in, I saw the bracelets at the front. It was hectic. I had to bust through some people, grab a bracelet, grab a couple of free pins, and then there was a huge mob, we'll say,
Bob.
people getting in, and apparently there was like little organized lines, but you couldn't see them. And then right after you get through, they check your ticket again to see if you're floor, and then you get a wristband. Nobody was checking to see if those two things were the same. You got scanned, you went through. I was like, I need a wristband. I'm on the floor. I had to bust through the crowd, get a wristband, and then bust out of the crowd just to go to the floor. It was awful. There was no organization. The staff there were pissed. They were yelling at everybody. And like I got it. I was like, I'm sorry, you guys. You guys are doing God's work out here, but you should have organized this better because everybody is just trampling each other.
Yeah.
Well,
Luckily, I'm very good with being aggressive in these situations, and I got through very quickly. Like, I just busted through, but like I saw Gino way back. I didn't know where Brett was. I thought he was already in there, but apparently I got in there first because of my aggressive nature.
Yes.
And
I want to explain
It's
my
just
point
awful.
of view after when.
So
awful.
I'll jump in now because I got in there second, and
Okay.
Vegas kind of teased some of my happenings from getting from outside the stadium to on the
Because I
floor.
want my point of view from your happenings. That's how I had a point of. I saw it as well. That's why.
Okay, so first off, when the lines got split, first off, like before I even get into it, because we talked about this, like the process that they did once you got inside the stadium before you got on the floor, like they should have done that while you were outside for 8 hours waiting in line, because none of that was essential to being done in that moment at that particular time in that location. Not necessary. I don't know why they did it like that. Big fail. Obviously, they didn't have like a strong like commander or leader because it was chaos. I don't know why they didn't have like they had those I don't even know what you call them, like the airport like stretchy things that connect to like the poles and everything.
the line separator.
When
I mean, all they had was just people screaming.
when I,
When
when I was
I'm gonna say they had those.
Well,
Interesting.
yeah, but because,
They did.
because as I was
couldn't
going
see
through
'em.
it, and I was like one of the first people to get inside the stadium, like people were like pulling them off and just like cutting through like different lines. Like it was like that was something like when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna follow you. Y'all broke the y'all ate the apple or whatever. Like you did it first, so I'm gonna just follow in your wake now. Like it was nuts, and so I got in line first, and my thought process too, Vegas, was when you got, because I heard you get bat checked. My thought process too was like, I'm just gonna get in there so I can establish like a perimeter for our group. I'll do like the Owen Grady,
Figured.
Chris Pratt, like stay back Raptors, kind of like a little pose for everybody in like our
Every
spot.
man for themselves.
Yeah, and we got into the lines to get our wristbands because we had obviously our tickets, which I don't know why you needed wristbands. You have the ticket that says you're on the floor. You should scan that.
It's
and get it.
because when you go up to get food and stuff, they don't want just anybody getting on the floor.
So you can leave and come
But
back.
anybody could have got a wristband in that mob situation. There was
Yeah.
no like they didn't know that I just scanned as general floor.
Yeah.
They had no clue.
Yeah.
I could have been anybody and just been like, "I wristband,
They
please."
scanned our tickets.
Yeah.
They did scan my ticket.
Yeah.
But there was no from when you got your ticket scanned to when
You
you
could've
had to
gotten
get
around
through
that
the
lady.
crowd
Yeah.
to get your wristband. There was no checking that you were the person.
Again,
Yeah.
they scanned
Yeah,
the
they
tickets.
scanned
Oh,
it.
they didn't do
scanned
that
it.
for me.
They scanned them
Oh,
twice.
They didn't do that for
They
me
just
either.
gave me a wristband.
So that's the thing. So Vegas got her wristband, just whatever. So I'm going through the line. All the like little like tape measure things that they had set up were like being ripped off, and so the line was like merging into like a horde. And like literally like it was like Black Friday at Walmart. Like I was like getting like pushed around and everything.
Exactly.
And like I always am respectful in situations like that, but like I literally had to
Ow.
like elbow people to like stay in my spot. And literally like it was like a goddamn current in the ocean. Like I got like shuffled
Awful.
past the table with the wristbands and like to the next checkpoint. And so I'm like, it's like dazed and confused. It's like, an intense situation. So I'm like, I'm just gonna walk past, and I have the ticket to scan, and I'm on the floor. Like, I'm just gonna go on the floor. And they were like, "Where's your wristband?" And I'm like, "I didn't get one because I literally got like hoarded through like the line." And they're like, "You need a wristband." I'm like, "Fuck! If I get in the line now, I'm gonna be like super far back in the line because I didn't know where Vegas was, whatever." So I'm like, I'm not gonna wait in line for like 15 minutes here. I'm just gonna I'm past that checkpoint. I'm just gonna go like behind the line with where the table's at and just be like, hey, like. So I was like, hey, can I get a wristband? Like, I didn't get mine, and they're like, no, you gotta wait in line. I'm like, I literally just looked at the lady, like, I didn't say, I just was like, and she was like, you still gotta scan them, and somebody else, one of the other workers, just grabbed the wristband and handed it to me. I was like, thank you. So I just walked onto the floor, and then I saw Vegas, and yeah, insane.
So me, Billy, and Stephanie were at another line, right? Mm-hmm. This is before we entered the stadium. So whatever, we walked in, all that stuff. As soon as we walked through the doors of the stadium, I didn't see Billy anymore. I feel like he just disappeared into thin air from me. But once we got to the portion in the line where it's just a horde now, somehow Billy came up to us and he was like, "Hey, look!"
Hey, look, it's Gino.
Yeah, so we were together, fortunately, and I, obviously I needed to stay with Stephanie because it was a horde and she's smaller, so if she's gonna get trampled, I can't have that. So so we stayed there. We were just waiting in the line, and we said, okay, well, Brett is gonna get in there. He fucking ran. He darted, so he's probably in there. We'll just meet up with him. He's doing the perimeter thing, so we're fine. We can wait here. So we're waiting there. We're in the middle of the line. I see Brett like stumble to the to the next part, and he's like. And he's just standing there, like he's looking at people. Like, I don't have my wristband and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, like the only one like that, right? And then I see him just disappear into the front there, and then he runs back out, and he was like speed walking because he couldn't run and stuff. It was just so funny seeing like oh, he got fucked, dude. Like, well, he got messed up.
To touch on that one more time, like, because literally, like, I literally got like a current, like, in Finding Nemo, all those fish, like, I got brought along. So there was like maybe 10 people, 15 people that were doing this like current thing, and like they all disappeared. So I'm assuming they got past that next checkpoint, and for some reason, like, the guards just saw me single, solo, and they were like, "Where's your wristband?" And I was like, well, because those workers in like the tunnel past that wristband checkpoint, they were like, "What the hell's going on? What's everyone doing? It's a madhouse in here." So yeah, I don't know. It was wow.
Yeah, between the stadium and the wristband spot, there was like 6 people incrementally lined out, like, put your arm up, wristband, wristband. So you're like walking through a tunnel, having to like prove your wristband status like 6 times.
Yeah.
Before you even get to the floor.
Yeah.
That was so good.
All right, Billy, let's hear yours.
Well, people were being vicious. The only really thing that I have to add was, like, I was standing in that second part to get the wristband. I was like standing behind Gina with like a couple inches of space. You want to be respectful. And like 3 girls like snaked in front of me.
Saw them. They were like, holy shit.
I was like, what is happening? So then
you don't leave space in situations
I had
like
to basically hug his butt and then, assert my dominance. And also it didn't make sense. Well, I guess now it's making more sense because it was like there was a mob of people and then there was like a table where you got the wristband. So I think you were supposed to like get checked at the front of that and then go to the table to get your wristband.
But there was no space between that.
But people would rush to the table like all at once, and then they'd be like, "No, you can't be doing that," because everybody got rid of the line things. But
I don't know why they didn't have obviously people are rushing it on the floor, but when they had that first checkpoint outside with like the scanner, like that was like the guy was like
They should have been like, oh, and
one
here's
at
a
a
wristband.
time, one at a time. Like the 8 people in the tunnel that were like, hold your damn arm up, like they should have been there making sure that part was easier, because then once you're past that and you're just walking the tunnel and you're on the floor. So
Yeah. I think isn't it like kind of a new stadium?
yeah, it opened up like what, a year or two ago.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they probably like have they had a big concert like
They'll
this?
figure
Maybe
it
not.
out.
Yeah,
They'll
oh
figure it
yeah,
out, yeah.
with COVID, yeah, probably, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
So we'll jump into the next segment here, the opener segment. So we had 2 openers, which when we bought our tickets, and like I feel like we talked about this, like I didn't know there was going to be a second opener until like an hour before the show, because when we were buying our tickets months ago, it being advertised just on the website, every Ticketmaster, everything, they only had Her, which stands for what, Vegas?
I forgot.
Having everything revealed. Remember, you looked it up.
I know. I look things up all the time, and then I just forget them.
And so
So
that
look her
was,
up or not the rememberer.
so that was like the promo opener was Her, and then like literally that Coldplay tweet that was like tweeted like a few hours before the show or whatever, an hour before the show, they were like, and Mariah the Scientist as like another opener. And so yeah, what did we think about Mariah? What did we think about Her? I knew who Her was, but I wasn't familiar with any of her music, and I didn't know who Mariah was at
Her
all.
music.
But yeah, what did you all think about the openers, their music and everything like that? Billy, we'll start with you first.
Yeah, I think so. The first one, Mariah the Scientist. I think she has a very great voice. I think it's clear that she's at the more beginning of her journey. So she seemed very excited to be there, and she was waving to everybody, and the crowd was being pretty good, cheering and stuff. But yeah, she loved waving. Good voice. Her vibe and style fit in with Coldplay, so it was pretty good, and it's nice that she got the opportunity.
Yeah. Vegas, what did you think about Mariah twerking for 5 seconds at the end of her set?
I wish she gave us a little more.
Yeah.
That was the vibe we needed. She wasn't a bad singer. She was a great singer. I think that a lot of her songs, I don't know if it's because she didn't have the band, the whole, the works, the show.
It was just
that-
her.
She had
music.
she had the
her
one guy
singing
on
up
the
there
computer.
singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she had a DJ, and it felt like all of her songs kind of melded together. I couldn't remember any of the songs because it all just sounded like the same song. I'd say that she should probably get out there and make things sound a little different, or find a way to differentiate her music so that the fans can remember. Because if I liked her, because one of her songs stood out, then I would look her up later. But because it wasn't very memorable, I would say.
But
she was an excellent singer.
Yeah, let me touch on this real quick because I think it's important. And I on line on Reddit and Twitter, and because I got to be a part of the super fan Coldplay photo, so I got added to this group chat. And on Reddit, on Twitter, before the show and even after the show, and then in that group chat as the show is going on, maybe that stadium isn't as conducive to concert sounds, and also to obviously the openers don't have as advanced setups and things like that, and
That's a good point. She needed more of an intimate venue to get her music across.
Yeah, maybe something with the sound too. With obviously when Coldplay was on, the stadium was filled to the brim, and that does probably affect the sound to a certain extent. So yeah, I just because everyone's the sound, the sound sounds weird, the mixing and stuff. But then when Coldplay came on, it was perfect. But I noticed that it got better from Mariah to Her to Coldplay. But Gino, quick thoughts on Mariah the Scientist. Did she play The Scientist by Coldplay?
No, she did not.
No.
We thought she was going to, like her own cover at least or something.
Yeah.
But actually, I looked her up. I thought she was a fairly new artist,
Yeah.
or completely new. I feel like that's probably the biggest venue she's performed to.
Yeah.
But looking at her YouTube videos and stuff, she actually has millions and millions of views.
Wow.
So she has a pretty big fan base. I thought she was good. It's not my kind of music. But I thought it was very cute how she was nervous. You could tell that it was sort of like the first time she's done something like that, and she was just saying hi to everyone that waved at her, and she was trying to manage the crowd, like hype them up, like her in her own way and stuff, and the crowd was good enough to like react to her and stuff.
It was
like
a good crowd.
Yeah.
So
Very
I mean,
receptive.
Immaculate vibes.
I was actually I figured I would just like find her on like SoundCloud or something, but she's actually pretty, like she's performed with like Young Thug and Lil Baby, and
Oh wow.
like she has.
How many monthly listeners does she have on Spotify?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just on YouTube right now, and like her highest views on her video is 4.6 million. So
Wow.
yeah, she's pretty prominent, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can only imagine.
800,000
Okay.
monthly listeners.
Decent. Pretty good. I can only imagine, like, obviously you're gonna take that job because it's like huge exposure, but I have to imagine that pizza looks really good. I have to imagine that, like, when you're an opener for a venue like that for an act like Coldplay, like, it's got to be a little awkward because the stadium's not filled out. It's not like, they're there for Coldplay, right? And obviously if they're there early, they're probably there for Coldplay because they're like,
It's always the trouble with openers.
yeah. So I thought she was great. Like, she was very talented. The mixing was a little odd, so yeah, some of the songs did blend together, but she, like, I could tell she could sing for sure, and I definitely want to check out some of her songs later on. But yeah, let's go to the next opener. Her, what does that stand for, Vegas? I just said
Stop.
She's not to remember.
having everything revealed. What did we all think about her? Literally her. Because I knew who she was. Because I knew who she was. So I was familiar with just her as an artist. I didn't know any of her music, but Vegas, what did you think about her? Did you vibe with her
Her was
music?
amazing. I remembered that I knew one her song, right? And then she was playing her music, and I'm like, wait, I know like 4 her songs. I know all the lyrics to these songs. They're like actually on my Spotify. But I don't remember a lot of things. Kind of like Gino was talking about earlier, how he liked Coldplay songs but didn't really connect the songs with Coldplay. That's kind of how it was with her. But she's actually a great show person. She was playing all these instruments. She was shredding on the guitar a little bit. She did some rock. She did some R&B. Her backup singers, amazing. They were all amazing singers. They were a little weird at first because they were in this like serious stoic stance, and I'm like, what's going on? Are they like in the military? And then like between sets, they would go back into that like statue pose. But she put on a good show. It was definitely an unexpected surprise, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I got to comment on that one dude. He was like 17 or something, 19.
Oh yeah, the young guy.
He could sing, man. That was like nuts.
He had a voice.
Obviously, I loved when he kind of like took his moment and probably sang a little bit longer because the other like dancer singers were like,
What are you doing, dude?
Looking at
That's how close we were. We could notice
The
these.
moment to prove
The
himself.
song that
17 years old,
he does a duet with her in one of the songs, and that song she originally did that duet with Daniel Caesar, if you guys know who he is. And I thought that was nice that she had someone that could sing just as well with her to do that
Yeah,
song.
no kidding.
that I didn't know that she sang.
Billy,
I knew there was a Daniel Caesar song, but I didn't know her was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Billy, thoughts on her and her music?
Yeah, no, she rocked. Like, I think it was, Raya the Scientist. It was like just, a singer and like the music, and then to transition into this was like, awesome. She was shredding on the guitar. She had like 3 different guitars. She shred on all of them. She played the drums for a little bit. She had her own drum set. There was like the drum set that the drummer used for the whole time, and then she had her own drum set that she like did some riffs on, and all that. So she was rocking.
Yeah. Gino, did her rock your world?
Very talented. But of course, again, not my kind of music. You know what I mean? It's not something I really listen to. But she puts on a good show. She commands the stage and stuff. She knows what she's doing, along with her backup singers and stuff like that. And just that, the highlight for her was that 17-year-old, where I said he went hard, and she's like, he's only 17, and I was like, damn, that's crazy, dude, for real. And then that's it.
Yeah,
not much after that.
Yeah, she's obviously very talented. I did like the one song that was like more R&B hip hop focused, because I'm a big hip hop fan. So definitely added those to my liked songs on Spotify. I did like the song too when she kind of walked out onto the catwalk connected to the B stage. When she was like shredding on her guitar. Always love when someone's really going to town on a guitar. It's always super dope. And then like another comment too was like the roadies or the equipment people. Yeah,
yes.
They were like bringing out piano. They were like lugging giant pianos and drum sets and everything for her to like play for a little bit. Mic stands
in. All right, here we go. Get this guitar. All right, you got this guitar. All right, we're gonna take this piano. We're gonna put it here. It's gonna be here for half a song. All right, we're done with it. Get it out of here.
Yeah. So, because like Coldplay, we'll talk about it. Like their technical stuff is like just 12 out of 10, so you don't even notice that stuff. But with her, like because of their setup and everything, like they literally had to do it like on the stage while everything was going on. But
we were in a very crucial spot though, to where we could see all of that stuff going on. I feel like the people on the other side of the stage, maybe didn't see the piano coming out.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I was impressed though. I was impressed by like how on top of everything everybody was.
Me too.
Pretty crazy.
All right, now to the main event, Coldplay themselves. What did we think about the set list? We kind of talked about like the flow of the show. We can get into that again and more in greater detail. How did we feel about the flow of the show and the set list specifically? Just general above board thoughts. Gino, while you're chewing on pizza, what do you think, man?
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. I had it open pretty cool. You guys know I close with the best song, obviously. So I was expecting that the whole time. But no, it was just the general flow of it. Like you mentioned earlier, it felt very fast, but we were there for 2.5 hours around there. And it flowed very well. They did slow at the right time. They got our hearts pumping. After standing for so long, I'm surprised you guys still jumped.
Yeah.
That was incredible. How they energized us. They really energized us. You know that. So I felt the energy. I felt all that, and it was super fun. Yeah, it was general flow.
Yeah, Billy, how did you think the show opened in terms of? I'm looking at the set list here. Like they had the
they had the weird themes, and then they started the first song proper, Higher Power, very good. I mean, overall with the set list, like they played all the songs, almost all the songs, but essentially all the songs that I would have wanted them to play. All the big hits. We got Charlie Brown, which is fantastic song. That's definitely a banger. And yeah, all the good stuff. It also had a good like pacing. Like Gino was mentioning, we were like dancing and jumping, but like they would play like a few like big hype songs, and then there'd be like a slower song where you just go like this, a little bit of a break, and then you go back and it would be nuts again. So it was also very well paced, well constructed.
Yeah, Vegas. Thoughts on the general set list, and then just how did you feel like the concert started with like they did that sustainability video, they did the ET opener, like intro song, and then obviously kicking it off with like Music of the Spheres, instrumental Higher Power, and then some high energy songs.
I mean, when the artists are doing the sustainability video, I'm used to that. I've seen that done before. The ET music was confused. But honestly, that was the weirdest part of the vibe for me because I didn't expect to feel like I was at Disneyland. But then the concert started and it all kind of felt right after that. But I would say the overall set list, I didn't know I knew that many Coldplay songs, period. Yeah. And I felt a little violated throughout my life, that I just knew all those songs without, taking the time to learn those songs. I just knew them. But I think it's because Coldplay is so mainstream that they were probably like on my work radio, and then I'm really good at memorizing lyrics anyway. Maybe not knowing what her means, but just memorizing lyrics in general. I'm a music learner. But great set list because I knew probably 90% of those songs. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, they played all the hits. I mean, basically like anything that wasn't on the newest album was pretty much a single, so that totally makes sense.
Somehow I knew some of the songs even on the new album, and I didn't understand. So I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, with the opener, or with like the ET song, there's like an interview that they did in between our show in Atlanta and their last US show on this leg in Tampa, that like they just wanted it, and they asked like John Williams and Steven Spielberg, and they just wanted the permission to use it, and they got it, and so they did it. I guess my association with that is just because the album is like space themed and planet themed and everything. Obviously,
it was weird to me.
Is an alien.
Yeah, I love it. Space.
It was the only thing that was weird to me.
Connected. Yeah, to me, like the overall flow of the set list, like literally was perfect. Like it was like 2 hours, and it didn't feel like that at all. Like, towards the end of the show, he was like, "Hey, we're almost done," and I was like it, just that buzz, that energy of the show. Like, you could have told me it was like just at the first act, and I would have been like, "Oh, like let's go, let's do it." Like I could have watched them do like an 8-hour show, I guess, right? It was 2 hours. I could have watched them for that much longer. I think the opener was great. The Music of the Spheres, a lot of their albums, we talked about this in some of the actual album episodes of Coldplay Replay. Like they always usually start with like an instrumental track as like the actual first track of the album, and then the second song is like the first actual song. But yeah, connecting it with Music of the Spheres to Higher Power. Higher Power is such an energizing song. Great opener to the album. Great opener to the concert. And yeah, we were talking about it, I think, before the recording. But yeah, they had like 24 songs. 7 of them were from the new album. And then I think like there was like 2 songs from each past album. Like you probably, I'm assuming like a high energy song, and then maybe like a slower song. They did not do a full song from Everyday Life, but they did do some instrumentals and snippets and excerpts from Everyday Life, which Billy and I...
That's the worst album.
Billy and I really like that album, so maybe someday they'll... Although they said before that album they weren't going to play it start to finish, but maybe they'll do more songs from that on a later tour.
Give me Arabesque and that sexy saxophone. I guess they didn't have a saxophone. That's probably why.
Yeah. We're still in that stage where COVID is still, pretty prevalent. in all of our lives, and so maybe like some of the stuff surrounding that concert couldn't be fully realized. But yeah, let's get into favorite track, your favorite live song, because obviously we were talking about this, and we'll get into it, I'm sure. Like some songs don't vibe with us as much on the actual album, on Spotify, on iTunes, whatever, but then hearing it live is really great. So actually we'll split this up into two quick segments here. What was a favorite song you heard live, and then what was the song that had the biggest glow up? Vegas is literally glowing right now. Vegas, what was your favorite song to hear live? And then what song that, now granted you said like you didn't know songs, but then you did know them, like what did you have a song that had like a glow up that you didn't really vibe with or whatever that really stood out to you?
Vegas is white now.
Wow.
You're muted as well. What a loser, dude.
Oh. Yeah, I had to change my lighting because it's dark in here now.
Getting dark now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I don't know. I think Adventure of a Lifetime kind of seems like just like a basic song, but then I heard it, and then there was, confetti and Chris Martin running around and dancing, and it just like the vibe was so good. Of course, My Universe, just seeing my boys up there makes my heart flutter.
Yeah, seeing it from the Coldplay side, like how did that hit you? Because BTS was implemented into the song, but just via the like video screens for their.
Still great. Whatever song was before that, because I did not know the song before that. Like I've never heard it before. The one where they came out in the alien masks.
It was
like one or two songs before that.
They did before My Universe. It was Infinity Sign, which is an instrumental on Music of the Sphere's new album.
Midnight the one where they came out in the alien helmets?
They did Something Just Like This, that Chainsmokers like
Chainsmokers song,
party house song, and then they did Midnight, which is like another kind of, they sing in it, but it's largely an instrumental track. So a couple instrumental tracks leading up to My Universe.
Yeah, the vibes kind of leading up to My Universe were really cool too. Even though I didn't know the song, I was just like, "Oh, this is so cool." Just all the little different things that they did. But I think it's definitely Adventure of a Lifetime was like, and that was like right at the beginning, so everything was just like, "Woo!
Yeah,
this is so cool."
Yeah, that song is great live. On the last tour they played it as well because it was from the newest album at the time, and yeah, that guitar is just so it's like stuck in my head forever. It's especially live, like, and then the live aspects of them, playing it and dancing and the confetti and everything. Yeah, I love that song a lot. Billy, what was your favorite song to hear live? Like most anticipation, just favorite in general, and then what song had the biggest glow up?
I think the one where I popped off the most was Charlie Brown, because I was like, oh my god, I love this song so much. Such a good song, such a good like stadium song, good vibes. Not much else to say, but I think the one that had a big glow up was like was actually Clocks, because that was the one with like the green lasers.
Yeah,
and that was so cool. Like just like that effect, there were like these like lasers, and like the smoke was like getting in with the lasers. It was very cool. And it's like Clocks. It's like Clocks is Clocks. Like I think that's probably the one Coldplay song that everybody on the planet of Earth has heard the most, and they still managed to make it like interesting and cool and memorable.
Yeah. Was Clocks your biggest glow up?
Yes, biggest glow up.
Okay.
Clocks.
Cool. Gino,
honorable mention.
Oh.
Honorable mention to Sunrise.
Yes.
That was all we got.
Yes, we did get a little
violins.
Mm-hmm. Ah, so beautiful. Gino, what was your favorite song to hear live? And then what was the song that had the biggest glow up for you?
So I got several answers because I had two songs that I was super excited to hear live. Beautiful and My Universe, of course. But like Vegas said, like when they came out with those alien masks and that part of the concert, like even though it was mainly instrumental, I thought it was one of the coolest parts because it was just so like the way they were like dancing and just having fun, like walking on down the stage. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was just like they changed like the vibes of the whole thing so much. And something we didn't mention too was the way the stadium works is the Mercedes Benz, it closes and it opens. So as the concert was starting, it was closed and they had like the symbol of I think they had the symbol of the album, right?
Yeah.
Up on the ceiling, and then that was opening so we could see the sky and the night and all that stuff. So that was really cool to add to the vibes of the concert. But yeah, Beautiful was of course one of my favorite performances. And there was one, I'm trying to think of it right now, where he finished performing and on the screen it was sort of like reversing itself, like rewinding. And I think it went into, I think it was it Higher Power into Adventure of a Lifetime that happened? That he like
Right at the beginning?
yeah, or was it Charlie Brown into The Scientist? Because I remember like it was the sound of the reversing, like rewinding,
Was it?
and then it mixed into the song, and I thought that was so awesome hearing that part of it. I forget where it broke like that.
Scientists do be reversing.
I'm looking at the set list right now, and I think it was like they played a song, and then as they transitioned to the next like stage,
Yeah, because
like
he
the
was
next
walking.
act, yeah, they did it. I think it was either The Scientist, which is
It was after The Scientist. It was after
Yeah.
The Scientist.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it went into Viva La Vida because it was
Yeah.
rewinding, like as
Yeah.
if he was rewinding the whole concert as he was walking a B stage.
Yeah.
And then it went into the boom, boom. Like it was so cool. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But for the one the biggest glow up for me, I told you after the concert when we were walking away, was People of the Pride.
Yeah.
I didn't really vibe with that song much when I heard it on the album, but then hearing them perform it and how hype they made it with like the fire coming out and then like them jumping and all that stuff, that song was awesome live. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
That's actually where Billy got his sunburn, not from waiting outside.
From the fire, yeah.
I don't
Y'all,
think so.
y'all felt the heat from the flames, right? I think
Yeah.
that's how
Oh,
close we
y'all,
were.
that segment was for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Fire.
Biggest girl on
Biggest
fire.
girl on fire.
I was
Literally
like, this
on
is for
fire.
me.
Yeah, I did love that segment from Infinity Station or Infinity Sign to something just like this, Midnight, with the Daft Punk looking helmets. Because and let's just jump into it now, because then I can go into my favorite songs and glow up. But like the performer aspect of the show in terms of the band itself, but then obviously Chris Martin, like when he was like wearing the helmet and like dancing up to the B stage and stuff, like, and like doing like the sign language while they were like, I'm assuming it was just pre-recorded, but like he was doing sign language and everything like that. Like there is something about like the way Chris Martin specifically like can like enrapture like 70,000 people at once with like his performance, not just like not the singing aspect, but like it's performing.
Physical performance, yeah.
Yeah, because I brought this up the other day to everybody, but like their first couple albums were like classic, like Beatles, set up with the drums and the car, everybody just like standing still, sitting down, and the music reflects that because it's a little more classic rock, space rock, stuff like that. And their old concerts were, them largely just in their positions, playing the 15 songs and then moving on. But then the last couple tours, like they've really transitioned to this massive like entertainment performing aspect of their live experience, and
Yeah.
it's like the best in the biz, if not one of the best. And so that was like, obviously being so close was incredible, because the last concert I went to, like I was a little bit in the back on the floor, and so still got to see it. But yeah, seeing it up close, like the little mannerisms
Well, you were in it.
little mannerisms they brought up was great. I think my favorite songs to hear were number one, Sparks, because that's one of my favorite Coldplay songs. That was the song that literally kind of started, I guess, my fandom of me liking the band. It's a very intimate song, so I love the sad boy Coldplay vibes always. I went on stream a few days ago looking at all the photos. I was like the only one singing that song because it's like one of their older songs. And
I didn't know it.
I was like, damn, like, because I was singing all the songs, and some of the videos, you know, it's everyone singing it. You can't really tell, but Sparks, I was like the only one singing, and I was like, oh my gosh, whoops. Another classic for me was In My Place. Just for so many different levels in terms of me actually liking the lyrics, the actual musical composition. That guitar starting off the song is iconic. That literally was the starting like riff for the creation of that album, and so that meaning onto that song and that album means so much to me as well. And anytime they play older stuff, I always love, because I love the older stuff a little bit more generally, although Milo is probably my number 2 album. So those were probably my 2 favorites.
Yeah,
that's
a good stadium thing to do. You know?
And even that song's like literally A Rush of Blood has turned 20 this year, and that song is super old. It's a single on that album, but it's not obviously one of the standouts, you know, Scientists, Clock, stuff like that. But like hearing like some of the crowd, like a sizable portion, singing that back like they knew it, I was like, let's go, like, just to
we're with our people, Brett.
We're
with our people.
We were. And obviously, like, you know, the standouts like Charlie Brown, Paradise, Viva La Vida, the classics are great as ever, every time live. I did like seeing Higher Power live. That's a great high energy song live, even more so than the actual song on the album on like Spotify. Billy, you were going to say something?
It was our first experience with the confetti.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to say, I was going to make a correction. I was going to make a retraction correction. I don't think Clocks is the Coldplay song that everybody's heard the most. I think it's Viva La Vida, but like,
I don't think it is.
Or Yellow. Or Yellow.
Maybe Yellow. I think it's Viva La Vida. But...
As a non-Coldplay fan, it's Yellow and Viva La Vida.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe Paradise
maybe
a little bit.
Just me.
But not Clocks. Clocks is like 5 down the list.
Yeah. So biggest gloat for me, People with a Pride is a contender. I like it more than Gino, but it's so much better live. I like Beautiful, but it's so much better live in my opinion. But for me, my probably biggest glow up was Human Heart. I like it on the album. It's not one of my favorites from that album. I generally, if I'm like just, you know, jumping through that album on Spotify, I probably would skip that one if I'm just jumping around. But hearing it live was like, and how close we were to the band and everything, it was just like so beautiful. I know Kate Rose, who is a Coldplay Replay member, she loves that song. And then like the stuff they did with the Xylo bands in the stadium, that was probably the coolest aspect of the Xylo bands in the the concert experience, because for all the other songs it was like, which it's still freaking cool every time, you know, different sequences of colors and stuff like that. But for Human Heart, they literally had in like the upper rows like heart-shaped Xylo bands, and obviously because those seats up there are like set seats where people sit, they could program those to actually show the hearts. We have pictures. Hopefully we can put them up. Like, it was so cool. Like
the hearts in the crowd.
Yeah. That was like the coolest part of the Xylo band experience for me. But yeah, next segment. Anybody remember? So we have the favorite track.
Okay, I just need to clarify.
Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about Kelly Rowland?
Yeah. Do you want to
let's do that before or after this? Up to you.
That was gonna be my hot stop.
Okay. So yeah.
LA.
So Vegas. We have like our favorite. Like in the past episodes, we had favorite song from an album, and then we had aptly named, you know, pun inspired, Hot Stop instead of Coldplay Hot Stop, the song that like we just are slamming.
Like the opposite. Do you get it?
We're just slamming on that pause button. Obviously, you can't do that in a live concert experience, but Gino, what was your hot stop from this concert? What was the song that you vibed with the least? Now, I will say this, me personally, there was a song on here that I didn't vibe with the most, but the concert as a whole was an incredible experience. Even the song that I vibed with the least, seeing it live, seeing that level of production, it's incredible. So, but yeah, did you have a hot stop for Music of the Spheres tour?
For the concert, none of the Coldplay songs. No, not a hot stop there for me. Of course, we're gonna bring it up. Billy brought it up now. Do I just bring it up?
Jump right in, man. Jump on in, just like Coldplay said. And
so as Chris Martin likes to do, Coldplay likes to do, they like to bring on special guests for their concerts, right? It's been a different one every part of the tour. Somebody different somewhere else. So Chris Martin started talking. Of course, he gave a story, all that stuff, and he said, "So we were lucky to have someone from Destiny's Child join us tonight." I physically saw.
We all like broke
Brett's
our
heart.
necks, dude.
I saw Brett's heart sink, dude, to the floor.
it was like Breaking Bad when Walter White realizes like he left the cocaine like on the living room couch at home, and like Skylar's about to pull up, and he's like it's like the camera like is zoomed in on the face, but it also zooms out like behind the person kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
I was like,
I turned so quickly to look at Brett before they revealed who was coming out.
Oh man! And then
It was exactly like that. He was just frozen. He's like, no.
oh man!
No.
And then he followed up with Kelly Rowland. So that alleviated Brett's pain. There it wasn't Beyonce. Because I was like, oh, Beyonce's gonna come out, but then she wouldn't. She would have come out during Him for the Weekend, right? I figured she would have come out for that. And I was waiting for her to come out for that too. And if not, I was like, okay, then it's Selena Gomez for the other one. But no, none of them came out. And then it was just so funny hearing him say Destiny's Child, dude. And then thinking Beyonce was coming out this time.
Kind of one of the best moments of the concert, honestly. Just that before we even knew.
So it's not that I don't like that song. That's a classic, the Independent Woman, the one that he performed with her. But yeah, it was just sort of like that surprise, twists and turn there that I didn't really care for much, to be honest with you. But it is a classic song. I mean, it was nice. It was cool hearing that, live, because it was a song I used to hear when I was just a little boy. But it wasn't a song that I seeked out.
Just a little boy.
Yeah.
See, when he said
my hot stop.
When he said Destiny's Child, I like my first thought was like, all right, it's either Kelly Rowland or the other one.
Michelle.
See,
Michelle.
Is it Michelle? It's just Michelle. Okay. Yeah.
That's how important she is.
I was like, there's no way it's Beyonce, because like we got past the Beyonce song. So my expectations were properly aligned.
But it was funny because of Brett.
I thought it was funny. It's always funny because of Brett, though. Because, like, what if it was?
Yeah, what if it
Bruno
was?
Mars. What if it was?
So
Can you imagine? What would have happened there, dude?
Dude, I would have recorded. Well, I couldn't because my phone was messed up, but I would have made Gino record it.
Brett would have jumped on the stage.
What a moment.
Not again.
No,
Because if it was Beyonce, she'd be up there dancing, showing him up.
Oh, God, yeah.
Again.
So I'll jump into my hot stop. And again, the concert was amazing from start to finish. But I mean, I guess it would be the Independent Woman section only because I didn't grow up listening to that song. I don't I don't listen to Destiny's Child that much, and so that was like. I mean, like when you bring like Bruce Springsteen or some of the other guests that showed up, I was like, the expectations could be like super high depending on who showed up, and that like Kelly Rowland as a special guest for me was like just and like neutral. Like I wasn't like bummed or super jazzed. So that was like okay, like cool. Like obviously she's super talented. Destiny's Child, massive band back in the day. And maybe Him for the Weekend too. Like that song never like really jazzes me up. Beyonce part aside. But that song like is never my favorite. It's really great live. It's awesome. It's a fun experience. Everyone like chanting with Chris, but those were probably the parts that like got me like jazzed up the most, or that got me jazzed up the least. Excuse me. Billy, what was your hot stop? What made you plug in your earplugs, man? Just
All right.
jam them in there.
I'm gonna say I don't have one. I loved the whole thing. I know it's a cop out.
Wow.
Even Independent Woman, I was like, no, this is awesome. I love this so much.
Yeah.
Love
On
Just
that
this.
note.
hearing
wanna hear
like
you
Chris
talk
Martin do
about-
the backup. I'm literally gonna talk about it. I'm connected.
Jeez.
So there's a bit of a going bit we have on the podcast that I don't like the song "Beautiful," but I didn't realize it was sung by a Muppet, and I thought that was just fantastic, and it made me smile. That like I'm at this big concert and there's just a Muppet who's like
Creepy.
doing the thing to a song, and I'm like, all right, it's wonderful. I can't not like it. So maybe that was my glow up. Actually, it's
I
beautiful.
figured that's what you were
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think you mentioned one.
What did we think about the Muppets, aka the Weirdos, which is in universe, Music of the Spheres universe band? What did we think about the Muppets, just as part of that concert experience?
Well, only the one sang, right?
Creepy.
I think
It was the same one. It was one
It's just
Muppet,
one.
right? The
It was
girl?
just that girl Muppet.
Yeah, so there's like 4 or 5 of them, and they're part of like
Mhm.
this like band on one of the planets, and so that's probably why that's that voice is that way. And what
Yeah.
did we think about the Muppets or the Muppet?
To me, it feels a little old. Like
That's why I love it.
Muppets to me feel like late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
I don't mind it though.
yeah.
I think it's real childish. I'm an adult.
I'm
And
an adult, dude.
I think it is very condescending.
Vegas is
but-
too adult
Show me
for
some
Muppets.
sex toys, not Muppets, okay? What are we doing here?
I think the Jim Henson Company like worked on those. I think they're like the same as like the Sesame Street and everything. And
Sure they did.
like they when I see the Muppets on social media and the Muppet on the concert, I'm not like, yeah, let's go. But for me, it's like, oh, Chris Martin and Coldplay, like they like to do weird shit, so I'm all about them doing what they want to do, because they've been doing it their way for 20 years.
Well, the
going on
one
now.
Muppet they had, she was pretty stylish. I was looking at her hair extensions and her earrings and stuff, and I
Yeah.
was vibing with her style.
Yeah. To
It's
round
a little
up
weird.
to round out the hot stop section, Vegas, what song had you just screaming in anger?
Just screaming in anger. I don't know. I think for me personally, just any song that I didn't know. Just because
That's
I
fair.
didn't know it,
Yeah.
because I like to sing along. I will say the Independent Women with Kelly Rowland was a little bit of a vibe changer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge Destiny Child fan, but that song seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like the wrong song.
So since you're a Destiny Child fan, what song would you have Kelly Rowland sing as part of that?
Oh man.
C
Well,
stage?
I guess maybe she might have chose that song because it might have been easier to do solo.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know which song I would choose.
Bootylicious.
I think honestly any song, especially the way they did it, like it was a cappella, like low. It just didn't feel like the vibe of the concert that we were already experiencing.
Mhm.
And not that I didn't like that experience, it just was different. And I felt like it slowed down the vibe.
Yeah.
More of like the overall vibe rather
Yeah.
than, any personal feelings. I thought she was gorgeous and I was really excited to see her as a fan. But
Mm-hmm.
Just a different vibe that I would say didn't mesh well.
Yeah, I'm looking at the set list, and right before that was Sparks, which is definitely a different vibe. And then after that, they did Humankind, which is a different vibe, and it's like an uplifting, like, euphoric kind of song.
It just
And
felt so different. It wasn't like someone came out and joined like one of the songs that they were already singing, you know? Um, it was just,
It was like, this is the guest section. It
yeah,
is
we're going to
different
slow it
and
down. We're going to
distinct.
do somebody else's song, and then we'll
And
get
then
back
we're
to the
gonna go
concert.
back.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which was fine. Like I said, I was excited to see her, so it wasn't like a complete bummer. I would just say that, it didn't have to be there.
yeah. So we'll go to our, I believe, our last segment here. This is all I have on the dock. But what did we think about the closer of the album in terms of the actual song being played, and then just like the actual closing, like, ceremonial experience? Vegas, I'll start with you because I know me and Billy have a lot to say about this. So we'll start with Vegas, and then we'll go to Gino, and then
I don't really get the question.
Like, what did you think about "Beautiful" as like the last song they played?
Oh, I think it was appropriate. I personally have never heard that song before, but I have heard Billy's distaste for that song, and all of you guys kind of, Josh, Kate, all of you guys talking about it, but I've literally never heard it. I just knew that there was some sort of chipmunk vibe, and some of you liked it and some of you didn't. But when they played it at the end, it felt kind of uplifting. It felt like a good closing song. I felt like it was appropriate. I had no problems with the high-pitched voice. It sounded like an okay song. But I think it was a good closing song. I think it gave off the vibe of like, hey, I love you guys. This is it. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Gino, we know you stand for "Beautiful." How did you feel that song functioned as the closing song for the entire set list and concert experience?
I was very proud of it, to be honest with you, because when I did hear it on the album, although it was my favorite, I didn't think of it as a closer. I was like, oh, this is just one of their songs, one of my favorites. But I figured they'd close with something like Coloratura or something like that, like change it up. You know what I mean? Like they would change that up, make it better for closing. But the fact that it was the song that closes out the whole concert, that was awesome for me because it's my favorite song on the album. I thought it was perfect because it's like they go Humankind, which has that space vibe, into Fix You, which is like a completely different song, back into Beautiful. But them doing that just mixed so well. And that's the beauty of just Coldplay throughout the years, that they've always just still been Coldplay, right? Like you don't think, even though their songs are different from what they would have been from their first album, you still hear Coldplay in it. So them closing out with that was just an incredible time for me, and I think they did confetti during the song as well, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I think they did all the things that they did leading up to that point for that song. So it was freaking just incredible closing it out with that, with not only just the song itself, but their performances and how they just it keeps the song playing while they're walking off stage and all that stuff until they're done, until they're out of there. Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah. That's very well put. Like, Coldplay as a band, it's hard to stay relevant for, one song, one album, let alone, 10 albums, 9 albums, however many they've done, and being a band for over like 22 years or something like that. And so, yeah, it's like, it really is so cool to see that through line from, their first album all the way to this album, and you still get that same spirit. So I think that's one of the reasons why I like them so much. And going from Humankind, Fix You, Beautiful, it's like so many different vibes, but that all flows together and just shows like the power of their entire catalog. Billy, you loathe Beautiful, but it was the closer for the song. Did it leave you on a high note, or were you walking out, fuming?
I would have loved to. I think I alluded to this in the beginning. I would have loved to hear Coloratura live, but it was still a fantastic show. Loved it so much, and I like the Muppet. So, sue me, call me a child. All right.
But did you like Beautiful as a closer?
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked it, but it was still a good show.
Yeah.
It didn't like ruin the show. And I know we joke about it and like I play it up a bit, but it was still a great show.
I think because
Billy
within
was
the
already in the
lyrics,
car. Billy was already in the car.
he was already in the car. Because within the lyrics, it's like, I hope you get everything you want, or something like that.
Yeah.
In the song, it sounds like an exit,
Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, after Fixed You, I tapped Gino and was like, all right, we can go now. We're going to fight through these people.
Beat the traffic. For me, it was good, not great. When I listened to the album, because when I was listening to the album when it came out, I was like, hey, what's going to be the opener? Obviously, I knew it was going to be Higher Power just because typically from all their past tours, even the tours I haven't been to, just from looking at the set list, like they open up with usually the first or second song from that any given album of the tour. And so I was like wondering what they were going to do for the closer, because Coloratura, which is actually the last song on the track list, which me, Billy, and Gino have listened to it, but Vegas, you should really listen to it. It's such a beautiful song. It's one of my favorite Coldplay songs ever.
And it's 10 minutes, Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But it's worth it.
Ballad.
Like honestly, yeah, it's worth it. And so Coloratura on the album is such a beautiful ending note on that album. Just the journey you go on that song and the way it ends, that I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a perfect album closer. Because even though it's like not a high energy song, it does like take you through this journey, and then it ends in an intimate way. And I was like, I love that. I love like that intimate vibe with just imagining with like a huge crowd of 70,000 people or whatever. So I thought that would have been awesome. But they chose Beautiful, which Vegas brought up that point just now about the lyrics kind of alluding to it ending, and I really like it. I like it a little bit more now that you brought that up. But man, the tease of, because in the album, Beautiful literally transitions at the end of that song to Coloratura, like the starting notes of that, and so you hear it. We heard it on the concert, and I was like, that was just like a tease. I was like, come on, like I wanted it so bad. And me and Billy talked about this too. But what do you think, Gino and Vegas, about switching Humankind and Beautiful? Because Humankind's played like 2 songs before, and it's from the album, because they always close with a song from the album. They open a song with the album, close it with that new album. What do you guys think about Humankind switching with Beautiful? Because Humankind to me is a little more anthemic. Like it's I feel like a bigger song. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a slower song than Beautiful. So I don't think, the energy of that song, I don't think would have been. I think having Humankind go into Fix You is what made that last 3 have that immaculate vibe, But if you're going from the energy of Beautiful, I think, into Fix You and then Humankind, it would have felt a little bit off to me. But I wouldn't change it personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it was right the way that it was. And you want your crowd to leave a little hopeful. You don't want them to leave sad or mellow or even like too up. You want them to leave in like something to hope for mood. And I feel like Beautiful had that vibe. Because like I said, I'd never heard it. But to me, it had the vibe where it was like, we'll see you again. It had just the up vibe where you can like kind of lift yourself up and get out. And
Yeah.
I don't think Humankind had that vibe.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want things that are either too hype or too low.
Because Humankind also starts with like a countdown, right?
Yeah.
So because they transitioned from the A stage into these last 3 songs, so it felt like they're counting down to the end of the show now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you start that like if you end the show with that countdown into just the one song, would have felt a little weird, right?
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Real quick, we'll talk about just like the eco initiatives. Like, did you guys feel like that impacted the concert experience? Did you feel like you are thinking about, being more environmentally friendly? Gino, why are you laughing, bro?
Because you wasted 5,000 gallons of gas into
Because it's to visit you, bro. Wow.
They hate you. Coldplay hates your ass, Brett.
Bro, they planted like 20 trees because of me, okay?
Is that worse than flying, though?
It's a... I
No,
don't...
flying's worse. Flying's worse.
I think flying's worse.
And Brett's Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. No,
But he could have biked here, okay?
He could have biked. Yeah.
He could have biked.
Chris Martin literally said, "I wish
He
you could
could've
all
taken a
take
bus.
helicopters here," which I think is probably ecologically the worst thing to
He
do.
literally was like,
We'll take
"Screw what I
helicopters.
just said. I'm gonna helicopter you all in."
But yeah, we could talk about the. I mean, like, I think it's a little unfortunate that we were like so far in front that we didn't really get to take advantage of the bicycles and the
Yeah.
dance pads.
Yeah.
that
I feel like we were lucky that we didn't
pretty
get to
cool.
take
I thought it was-
advantage of the
I thought it was
bikes.
really cool. We didn't get to go back and vibe on the bikes.
Yeah.
When I was,
You
I think that was a
could've
nice,
went and
like,
vibed on
little-
the bike.
I think that was a nice little like pre-show like gimmick thing to do to like get
Yeah.
people involved because they were like they served like 100 people at a time. They were like, we need 100 volunteers
Mhm.
to do these bikes and dance on this weird floor to charge our C stage performance for the next show. I think that's
Or else
exactly
the
what
mic
it was
aren't-
for.
the mics aren't going to work. So
Yeah, literally during our concert, Gino was...
Kelly Rowan's mic is gonna cut out because you didn't do enough steps.
Vegas wasn't jumping on the pad enough, and like we were
We weren't
listening
on the pads.
we were
during
listening to
Sky
Viva-
Full of Stars. During
What if
Sky
it
Full of
was
Stars,
Beyonce and then you got to sabotage the performance, Brett?
Oh.
During Sky Full of Stars, Chris
He
Martin
just like
was
trips everyone.
Chris
on the
Martin
pads.
was like this, dude.
Yeah.
Because who would have been?
Dude, you guys are dancing up.
Where's my bikers, man?
At the Tampa show on the C stage, they did "I Will Always Love You" without Dolly Parton, but they did that song.
Yeah, because somebody got proposed to.
Yeah.
In Tampa. Yeah, which is very cool.
So that's what we could have powered. We could have
Gross.
been a part of their moment, but we
Yeah.
weren't because we had to hold the spot.
If we're going to the next concert, what's one thing? What's something we learned to make our experience better for the next concert? Vegas is raising her hand. She's champing at the bit. Let's go.
We learned that we don't need to be in line that early.
Yeah.
Maybe I think you said you could give or take maybe like an hour. Like you could have went there an hour later and we still had good seats. Also, where we stood, because we didn't know that the stage was going to be so high, so we were kind of looking up. Where we stood was great for the experiences that we got, but there was a few experiences that we missed out on, like Chris on the piano. Anything that was going a little bit too far back on the stage, we couldn't even see really the screen behind the stage. We saw the two side screens, but not the middle one. So maybe standing either kind of on the shaft of A and B or standing at the end of B would have been better for a broader view. But we did get some experiences where we were standing that we wouldn't have gotten if we didn't stand there, like them coming out. Chris basically looking and pointing at us right there. Great view of Guy the entire time.
The whole
Just
time.
great view of Guy. those experiences we wouldn't have got if we didn't stand where we stand. And I'm glad we stood where we stood just for those experiences. But, you know, if we wanted a different experience, I think there's some other places that we could stand.
Yeah, I think with the whole line thing, you know, if we got there again at 12:45 and, you know,
Bring umbrellas, water, snacks.
Bring umbrellas, bring water. Vegas will not be bringing the suntan lotion until 10 minutes before we enter.
Bring your own suntan lotion. I don't need suntan
This is
lotion.
what I learned. This is what I learned.
But yeah, in terms of like waiting in line, you know, in an ideal world, everything goes smoothly. Like going through that line process, getting in there, we probably still would have gotten, you know, maybe on the rail somewhere, or you know, 1 or 2 rows back, anywhere. So I think that would have been fine. But even then, like if you get, you know, there, you know, 30 hour later, you probably could still get in a similar spot, or you know, if you really wanted to elbow your way to the front. So, you know, and anywhere around the stage. So, you know, I think if you're gonna go there and you want to get a good spot, you know, get there, you know, around, you know, 12:45, 1, to get a good spot. Bill, you listed some of the outside stuff. Gino, y'all have any you know, things that you learned about that experience, and if you were gonna go back to another Coldplay concert, what you do better?
I'd rather sit. That's pretty much the only difference I have there.
As an adult.
But that's more. I feel like they should do away with just the general admission with floor, like BTS has done, where you get to choose your seats on the floor. And if you get the front ones, you got the front ones, and if you know, depending on what you got that. But I think being able to experience that, I feel like it's just a one-time thing for me. I would see them again, but I would like to have the floor be more of a you choose where you sit if you get that ticket, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder if that extra like $500K that they made per concert is because they opened up the general floor seating. Like, I wonder actually how much more revenue you would get opening up as a standing floor, because more people can pack in standing than they can when they line up chairs.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
And I think going off what Gino said, like if I were to do this again, like I wouldn't need to like get there super early. Like, you know, if I got like good seats, or like even if I'm just like on the floor but like further back, I think it still would be a great experience.
Oh yeah,
because like we've done it, like I've done it, like I've had this experience. It was great. It was fantastic. You know, I don't think I have to wait 5 hours to do it again. I'll wait maybe 2 hours or an hour or something, and like still have a fantastic time.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that I did it once.
Yeah. I mean, this was my first time doing that too. I probably would wait in line that long again, just because, you know, how often would you see Coldplay? Like every, like, you know, 4 years or 5 years or whatever. It was like, what, 6 years since I saw him last. So, you know, I feel like I would do it again. I do, like, it was fun standing up and being that close. But yeah, because the last concert they did, it was seated flooring. And then, yeah, they chose to do it just general admission. And even like I'm seeing Kendrick Lamar next month, and that's open floor too as well. So you know, maybe that's just a trend. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it like that. But yeah,
Depends on the fans.
Yeah, definitely bring, if it's outside and you're in Atlanta, Georgia, or anywhere, you know, below the, you know, like in the South, like definitely bring the sunscreen, umbrellas, water, sustenance, all that stuff, because
cooler with ice.
Yeah, it was.
I was dumping water on me.
Yeah, Billy's.
Someone photoshopped a picture of Gino like murdering me, and like that's kind of how I felt.
They put the John Walker bloody cap shield on for me, Aaron Roots.
Oh, so funny.
Oh.
I was there when he
I
was
didn't
making
see
that.
one.
Yeah,
Oh.
Gino has a gun and there's a bullet hole, but then there's just like a general bloody torso for Billy.
Where is that?
It's in selfies in Jim Chasey's Discord.
I gotta check that.
But yeah, I would do it again. I mean, they're one of my favorite bands, 1A, 1B. So, if I don't do it for, them, who would I do it for? Yeah, all right. So yeah, let's just round out this pod. Just general closing thoughts from anybody, and I'll ask a specific question for each one of you because everyone's at different levels of being a Coldplay fan. Vegas, you are, you're not as well versed in Coldplay. What are your general closing thoughts, and are you a Coldplay fan now? Would you say you're a Coldplay fan?
I would say I am a semi Coldplay fan. Their concert experience was amazing. Second best concert I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen over 25 concerts. Like, I've seen a crazy amount of concerts. They put on a show like most musicians can't do. Just all the effects that they use, the energy that they have. Chris Martin in general is just like a force to be reckoned with live. Like, I didn't know Coldplay that much before this, but now I know what they're like live, and I'm super impressed. Super impressed. I'll probably save a few of their songs on my Spotify because I had 0 before. But yeah, semi fan. I would go to their show again for sure. It's a show well worth the money. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Let's
Immaculate
go.
Vibes.
Immaculate
Vibes.
Coldplay. Gino, what are your general closing thoughts on your entire concert experience? Just the general experience with everybody in Atlanta with you. And then, my particular question for you is like, so you would consider yourself a Coldplay fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With this, do you feel like you're, leveling up, like you're eating the mushroom in Super Mario Brothers? Like, are you taking that next step to becoming a Coldplay fan? How does this, change your fandom with the band?
Oh, it didn't change it at all. I love them the same before this concert, and I love them the same after the concert. But it's definitely, obviously, like I told you before, before we got to the concert, I was like, the experience of this concert, of course, as you know, is going to be tarnished because I already watched BTS live. And nothing's gonna top that, right? So
Nothing.
no matter what happens, nothing will ever top seeing BTS live.
Mm-hmm.
But this would have to be my second favorite concert I've ever seen, because it would probably be Coldplay. Is, if I were to describe myself, what kind of music do I like? Coldplay is one of those things that I would mention. BTS, K-pop, Coldplay, Imagine Dragons, Nickelback. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that I would...
Bro, stop trolling, bro. Wow.
So Coldplay is always one of those bands that I just love to listen to, right? They have no skips for me, except for their entire album, Everyday Life. But there's just no skips. It's one of those bands that is number one classic band. Sorry. But the whole experience here, obviously, I was meeting Billy and you for the first time. It was incredible. I love this, the idea that we are all online and we have all met each other online, and when we're in person, nothing changes from when we talk
0
or whatever. Yeah, it's like we've already met, right? It's like we've already, like, there's no awkwardness. If there is silence, it's just silence. It's not like no one's awkward. Except Josh, that guy's probably a fucking weirdo, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, aside from everything, I thought it was just an awesome weekend with you guys. It was an awesome, we still had Sunday after that and to hang out a little bit, but
John Walker.
It was a great reason to get together. I thought it was an awesome experience to have together, and I'm excited for the next time we do something like this.
I think the funniest thing about the fact that we met up for the Coldplay concert and the weekend is that everybody gets to go by their real names except me.
Yeah.
I hate this though, because I feel weird saying Lisa to you.
It's completely fine, but I realize that I'm one of the only people. But like, even Brett, his name's Jim Tasty. Like even Rumble.
Am I gonna call him Jim?
His name's Rumble Pack. Like why am I the only one that can't transcend into the real name world? It's just really funny.
For me, it's because
it doesn't bother me at all. It's just funny.
My answer is I'm afraid of you. So if I call you your real name, like you might like attack me or something. I don't know.
Yeah, if you say it 3 times, I'll murder you. And you're
that's what, because like for example, like Emily, my sister, and Stephanie that met you, they met you as Lisa. They were like, "Hey, this is Lisa." So when Stephanie was like, whatever, she's like, "Oh, Lisa's coming, right?" I was like, "Who the fuck is that, dude?" Yeah, Vegas is coming, but like
so funny.
I always alternate. I just alternate it. I don't know if you noticed that I do that. I just said sometimes.
It doesn't bother me. It's just funny when it's said and there's like other people around, and I'm like, do they know? They're just talking about the city Vegas over here.
Billy, what are your closing thoughts on this whole thing? The concert, visiting everybody in Atlanta, and also too, like this is gonna be the last. We did take what 8 months?
Well, a brief hiatus
between this episode and the last episode from the album, and it's probably gonna be a little bit longer until probably the next album they make comes out. So. Closing thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, no, I thought, like I said at the beginning, this is something like I've always wanted to go to a Coldplay show because they've been one of my favorite bands for like ever, and I'm so glad that I got to do it, and I'm so glad that I got to do it with cool people like yourselves, and I got like Gino said, like we all know each other, but I got to meet Stephanie, which was great. I got to meet Matt Batson, and totally ignore him, which I'm still crushed over.
You tarnished that relationship.
I tarnished the relationship.
Dude, my brain was so fried during that night that like
you took us at a time where we were like
I need a new first impression with Matt Batson.
We were dead.
I need a new first impression with Matt Batson.
Yeah, so to explain for the people, after the concert, we went to this like hotel bar to meet up with Matt Batson, and it was some party, and there was free food and alcohol, so we were all kind of burnt out, but we got to. Yeah, no, it was. It was
burnt
fun.
out is an understatement.
Literally burnt out.
Billy was so burnt and burnt out.
I was burnt, like burnt. Like I was much more red. Like
they had just
you could see
stood
my nose
outside from 1 o'clock, and then we were there at like what,
you guys
midnight?
See me peeling here?
Oh man.
That? Yeah, like
no. Well, like you can see this part of my nose is a different color than the rest of my nose. That's all. That's all been peeled.
I don't get the problem. Gino, how are you feeling?
Oh no, I'm totally fine. 100%.
Everything's good. Actually, I feel like my skin cleared up a little bit.
It would have
more.
been great.
Me getting a lot of sun actually makes me look better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. I went swimming yesterday. I was outside for like 6 hours.
Damn.
Feeling good. A little darker, but.
Yeah, for me, with the concert experience itself, like, I haven't been to 30 concerts like Vegas, aka Lisa, has here, but it just like I can't imagine a better concert experience in terms of
it's so good.
A variety of the set list, the pyrotechnics and the technical stuff they do, and then like the performance aspect of it from the band and Chris, like it's just all insane because a lot of it you don't even notice that they're doing certain things with the show that it's just incredible. Like Billy, like for me, like when I became a fan in like 2008ish 2009ish, like they were touring probably Viva La Vida. Obviously I was like 16 17, so less fun, stuff like that, so I don't know if I would have been able to go, but Milo and on I probably could have gone, but I just was like still in that aspect of my own life of like not this is one thing about the show, just in general, closing thoughts for the show, like that's definitely helped me just be more open about being a Coldplay fan in terms of like that's one of the things I'm known for now, whereas like back 10 years ago, like this was longer than that, but the 40-year-old virgin, like how like all that stuff is like
all my friends make fun of me for liking Coldplay.
Yeah, like
that was one of my problems. Like, who am I gonna go with? Oh,
yeah,
these cool people who you're doing a podcast with. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so like certain tours, like I just didn't go because I just wasn't at that time in my life, either money or just where I was like wanting to go to a concert like that. And now I can't imagine. I've gone to the 2 tours in a row. I can't imagine missing the next album's tour. Like it's just something that I want to keep going and going and going for the rest of my life, as long as they tour.
I'll go.
Yes, let's go. Yeah,
I'll go.
Kate Rose is saying because they missed the shows in LA, and they're gonna do another US.
But SoFi Stadium, dude. Yeah. I just had such a bad experience
she'd never
there.
Go back.
Yeah,
I had such a bad experience there.
But
the situation would just have to be different.
They're gonna do another leg for this tour, or another leg in America for this tour next year or sometime in the future. So I probably will go to that. Definitely for the next album, all that stuff. In terms of meeting you guys, yeah, like it was not weird at all. Like I'm a pretty like introverted guy. I'm a weird
dude.
I'm a weird dude, as Vegas Lisa said. But it just felt so natural, and like I was saying on stream 2 days ago when we were going through the album on my stream, like Gino is cooler than I thought he would be. Like Vegas is cooler than I thought she was. Like Billy is. I've met Billy already, but Billy is just so freaking cool. Like you guys are like so much cooler than I thought y'all were gonna be, and like didn't feel weird at all.
You guys are nerds, dude.
That means I got him.
Yeah, you guys are like lifelong friends. Like I say this all the time when I tell people like that I know just IRL, like in real life, about like streaming. Like most of my like friends, in terms of like just in terms of volume and percentage, like are from meeting online on Twitch, and who I talk to and hang out with on a day-to-day basis are like are you guys more than like people that live in Austin. So it's truly something that I treasure, and that's why Billy said like next concert, it doesn't matter where you're out on the floor or in the seats, as Gino said, like that part of the concert did not matter. It was just like getting to hang out with everybody the whole weekend was a treasure. And then this in terms of the podcast, this was so fun. This was like the first podcast that I started and took ownership of, and I hope the passion shows in all the episodes. I think it's like one of our highest rated and viewed podcasts on shared screens, and so I can't.
And it's over.
It's over. I can't wait to do the next album in 2024 or whatever. And so thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you for the next album, whenever that may be.